Okay, here we go. Complete tutorial on making a puzzle cube, starting from square one. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen here. So there's that. We are going to open Onshape. First thing I'm doing is I'm going to Onshape. I will sign in. If you have not created a education account yet, what are you doing? And second, make sure you set your account up. Use your school email password. So the first thing you do, if you haven't done it already, is create a document. I'm going to call this Puzzle Cube Tutorial. And click OK. And here we have an entire document. So it's always going to open up with the Part Studio and the assembly down here. And this is Part Studio is where we're going to make our first part. So I'm going to make my first part. It really helps to make the parts based on the orientation you want them in the cube, or to make them where you have the best front view as the front. We don't want to make these things backwards or anything. It makes making the drawings a lot easier. So you want your front view to show most of your detail. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way, and that's okay too, especially for this. Later on, we'll go over how to reset a front view. But the first thing I need to do before I do any 3D anything is I need to do a 2D sketch. So I'm going to click Sketch. And for this part, I'm going to choose the top plane. Really quickly, to look right at that plane, if I click N on the keyboard, it's going to turn that plane. And if I don't want to see these three planes, I can click P, and those planes go away. If I hit P, they'll come back. If I click P, they'll go away. So now I'm going to build the shape that I want to build. This first part for me is going to be a cross. I always like to start on the origin. So I'm just going to draw the general shape of the cross. I know what size it needs to be, but I'm not going to worry about getting everything to be 0.75. Notice the like horizontal parallel lines that show up to tell me that everything is lined up appropriately. Make sure that all your stuff is lined up appropriately. Now I have that. Now the biggest thing here is dimensioning it. So I'm going to click the dimension tool up here. I could also use the D key on the keyboard. So I'm going to dimension each one of these things. Well, I know this needs to be 0.75. And I'm going to go in and dimension everything. So we know we're fully dimensioned when all the blue lines go away. Dimension this line, this will be 0.75. And dimension this line, 0.75. That one's already done. That one's already done. How about this one right here, 0.75? Looks like I'm missing this one right here. Now that I have everything dimensioned, and there's some shortcuts and other ways to do that, but now that I have everything dimensioned, notice that all my lines are black. That tells me that everything is dimensioned. I'll make a check mark there. And then I'm going to use the extrude tool, and I'm going to extrude this thing 0.75. Check. All right, there's that. I'm going to make this another color, so I'm going to highlight it, right-click, edit the appearance for this part. Let's make this my red part. And check. So there's my red part. I like to come down here, rename it, red part. Enter. So there's my red part. Now I'm going to create my next part. I'm going to use the plus tool right here and create a new part studio. Part studio is where you create a part. It's the studio for your part. Again, I need a 2D sketch. I'm going to sketch on this front plane. N looks right at the plane. P gets rid of the stuff that's in my way. This time I'm going to create a part that looks like this. So I'm going to dimension this. This is 1.5 because it's 2 blocks. This is 2.25 because it's 3 blocks. And then I'm going to come in and actually create a little cutout right here. So from here to here is 0.75. This is 0.75. And the height of this is 0.75. I have everything black there. There's another tool that I like to use. It might be hidden below this, this arrow here. I like to use the trim tool. I don't want this line here, so I'm going to go trim that away. I click on that line. I'll cut that out. This is the part that I want here. Click check yes. I'm going to extrude. I always like to look at it in isometric in order to extrude it. Let's look at that ISO. Okay. Now, front top right is right here. I want it to be extruded 0.75. Change that to 0.75. Click check. And then again, I'm going to highlight this thing or click on it. I should highlight the whole thing. Right click. Edit the appearance. Let's go with purple for this one. So here's my purple part. And then I'm going to create another part. Plus, create part studio. You can fast forward the video if you're comfortable making your parts now. Next part. I kind of know what I want. I'm going to build its sketch from the top. Again, N to look at it. P makes the planes go away. I'm going to create an L shape. D for dimension. That should be 1.5. That should be 2.25. That should be 1.5. And then this should be 0.75. Make sure you put enough dimensions in there that everything is the same thing. Notice I didn't have to dimension this line, and that's because 0.75 plus 0.75 equals this 1.5 over here. So it doesn't even let me change that dimension because I wouldn't be allowed. Finish sketch. I like to look at the ISO when I extrude. Extrude it 0.75. Check. I'm not done. I actually want another part of this. So I'm going to sketch on the bottom of this and I'm going to add to it. So now if I hit N, all right, I'm going to click this corner to this corner. You'll notice the lines turn black automatically because since I went corner to corner, this is already set at 0.75. This is already set at 0.75. So there's no dimensioning I'll have to do now. Finish. I'm going to extrude that. And I want to extrude that 0.75. Make sure you're adding. Okay, don't click new because the new is going to make it a separate part. We don't want it a separate part. We want that to be part of part one. See, this says merge with part one. We want this all to be one part. So there's that. There are like 2 or 3 parts that actually Onshape has trouble with. I think I've helped everyone that had those parts. If you're struggling with a part, just make sure you ask on one of these working days that we have coming up. Edit the appearance. I've done purple. I've done red. Let's go with a gray. Do that gray part. And come down here, rename it. Gray part. What's the right way to spell gray? G-R-A-Y, G-R-E-Y. Guess it depends on what country you live in. So there's that. There's my gray part. 2 parts to go. I'm going to create a new part. I'm going to make this one kind of fancily. I'm going to go ahead and sketch on the front here. Make the planes go away. I'm already in the normal view. So I'm going to do this. All right, so I'm going to start by dimensioning this top cube here. It's 0.75 by 0.75. And we have these things up here called constraints. These are really cool. If I go to this one, it's called the equal constraint. I can make this line and this line equal. And I can make this line and this line equal. Notice that's all 0.75 now. I can make this line and this. Nope, don't want that to be equal. Undo. I can make this line equal with that line. I can make this line equal with that line. So I think I have all those. And then, oh, I don't know what I just did. And then I need to dimension, we go for my sketch. Need to dimension this line as 1.5. And I need to dimension this bottom line as 2.25. All right, now that it's all black, we're good to go. Check. Extrude. 0.75. Got to select what I want to extrude. I actually want to extrude all 3 parts of that. And I get that surface right there. Great. Red part, purple part, gray part. Let's go. Highlight everything, right click. Edit appearance. Let's go green part, dark green, hunter green. There's my green part. Check. And then last but not least, one more part. Edit. Create part studio. I'm gonna sketch. Here, I'm actually gonna build this part oriented wrong. So normal, planes go away with the P button. I'm gonna dimension this as 2.25 and 0.75. Finish. Extrude 0.75. Extrude that 0.75. There we go. Nope. Actually, I wanted 1.5. This is what I want. Obviously, you're building your own parts. Click. There it is. Red, purple, gray, green. How about a blue? I like this. Oh, that's a nice looking color. There we go. We'll call that one a blue part. Blue part. Check. All right. Now, the next thing to do, now that you have all 5 parts, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts, is create the drawings for those parts. So, easiest way to do it is to click on the part, So that's a face. It doesn't like that. Yeah, there we go. Right click on the part, create drawing of part 1. And then typically you're going to want to do the 4 views. I don't like the front of this one. I think the top should actually be the front. So I'm going to do this a little differently. I'm going to right click, create that drawing. And instead of clicking 4 views, I'm going to click no views. And I'm going to create my own views because I did not like what the front view was going to be on that one. You always want to choose a front view that has the most detail. And if I look at this, I see a lot more detail that way than this way. I don't see very much detail there at all. So I want the top view to be my front view. So I'm going to select my top view as my front view for this one. So here in part 1, sometimes this takes a while. Hopefully this goes quicker. Sometimes it helps to click off. Come on. I wonder if it's when I'm recording. Ugh. Puzzle cube tutorial. Yeah. Loading drawing. There it is. See, sometimes if I click off and go back to it, it ends up loading. Okay. Because it didn't automatically make this drawing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Insert View. I'm going to click Insert and choose it was the red part we're working on. I'm going to choose the red part. And I don't want the front. I want the top to be the front. So I always want to put the view that I want to be the front over here in the bottom left corner. So I click on that. And it's going to draw that part for me. Click Escape. There it is. Now I'm going to go to what's called Projected View. So I'm going to click on this tool. If I click on the front view and pull up, it's going to give me the top. If I click on this view and I pull to 45 degrees there, it's going to give me the isometric. There's my front, top, right ISO. If I click on this view and pull to the right, it's going to give me the right. We're going to line those all up. Done. And then I just have to do a couple things. If I right click on this right here, I got to get rid of this tool, sorry. Hitting escape also does that sometimes. So if it's not doing what you want it to do, hit the escape key. Show the shaded view of the ISO, just the ISO we want the shaded for. And then I have these views just like this. If there are hidden lines, there are no hidden lines on this. You're going to want to click show hidden lines on all of these, just in case there's any hidden lines that we can't see. Now we need to dimension it. And this is where this is a little difficult, can be. I'm going to kind of move this one over a little bit just to give me more room. And notice it lines all the edges up. If I move one of these, all the rest of them move with it. All right. So it's very, very difficult to be good at this. But once you understand it, it's not that bad. So we have width, we have depth, and we have height. I just like to go through those in order. So actually, I usually do width, height, and then depth. So width can be put here, or it can be put here, right? From left to right, left to right. Height is bottom to top. So it can be put on this view, or it can be put on this view, bottom to top. And then depth is front to back. So it can be put right here, or front to back. It can be put right here. Okay, those are your only options. My width goes here or here. My height goes here or here. And my depth goes here or here. And we like to keep the dimensions to the inside of the view. But it's always the same process. What I like to do is click dimension. And I'm going to choose where I'm going to put my width. I'm either going to put it on my top view, or I'm going to put it on my front view. I'm going to put it on my front view because I see the most here. I always go left to right. So left edge to the next edge I see, which is right here. Smallest dimensions first, 0.75. Then I do that again. I go over the leftmost edge to the next edge. That's right here. Kind of line this up so it looks pretty. And then leftmost edge to the rightmost edge. And there it is. So that is my width. There's no need to come in here and do it here too, because you'll see this is the same 0.75. I don't want to do that. I don't want to repeat anything. The most you'll ever have for width is 3 dimensions. So there's my 3 dimensions for width. You could have 1, you could have 2. It really just depends on what your part is, how many edges you have. Now I'm going to do the height. And when I do height, I always do bottom to top. So bottom edge to the next edge, 0.75. I can put it here or I could put it here. It just looks, there's a lot more showing here, so it's nicer to put it here. Bottom edge to my second edge. And bottom edge to my third edge. And you'll see that this snaps down right in the middle like it should. So I've done that. So now I've done my width. I've done my height. Now I need to do my depth. Again, I can put my depth here or here. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to do it right here from the front to the back. So from the front edge to the next edge, there's only one of them. So everything lined up there. So this one took 7 dimensions. I had 3 different widths because I had 3 edges along my width. I had 3 different heights because I had 3 edges along my height. And then I had 1 depth because it's only 0.75 back. So there's that. Only other thing you should do here, your name's already on it, but you should probably, got to hit escape, get off dimension, come over here and name this thing. I'm going to name it red part. Click the check mark. There we go. I wanted that to be in the middle one and I put it in the wrong one. I can just move it up. There we go. Maybe. That's not what we want. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to put it right here where I want it. All these dashes and stuff, they don't show up unless you want them to. So that won't show up if I was to print it. So if I was to look at this thing in the print view, all those dashes wouldn't be there. All right, next part, the purple part. Great thing about the purple part is this is the view that I want. So I right click on it, create drawing of part 1. I'm going to go ahead and click the 4 view option right here. And it is automatically going to create all of those views for me. And line them up. Again, right click, show shaded, right click, show hidden lines on these 3. Don't shade these 3, but show hidden lines in case there are any. And this one does have hidden lines the way I made it. I actually probably should have flipped this thing upside down for my view, but we'll roll with it the way it is. Again, we're going to go to dimension, edge to edge. So width, left to the first edge, left to the second edge, left to the third edge. Flipping this upside down as a U would keep these dimension lines from going through your part, but the way we have it, we're just going to have to live with it. Height, I like the height right here, 0.75 and 1.5. So there's that. And then I need my depth. This time I'm going to put the depth right here. From the front to the back is 0.75. That's the only one. This one only needed 6 dimensions, right? We had 3 edges along the width. We only had 2 along the height. and we had one along there. Keep in mind, if any of these are not 0.75, 1.5, or 2.25, you did something wrong and you need to go back and fix your part because it won't go together nicely. If not, come down here, double click. This is the purple part. Check. And we're going to go to the gray part. Again, that's probably not the best view. I'm actually going to look at this. Oh, I think the bottom is going to be the best view. Let's click on the bottom. Yeah. We're not going to have any hidden lines or anything. So I'm going to use this view as my front view. So when I click on this, right click, create drawing in part 1. I'm going to click no views because I don't have the front view that I want. It's going to bring me up a blank drawing sheet. And if yours is as slow as mine, you might want to exit out and come back to it. Hopefully it loads my drawing sheet here. It's making my video longer than it needs to be. And you guys have the option of fast forwarding. I have to hurry up and wait. Come on, you can do it. Well, while I'm waiting for that, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to create the drawing for this one. That's exactly how I want to see it. So I'll click OK. And then I'm going to come to this blue part. I want the right side to be the front. So I'm going to right click, create a drawing of part 1. And I'm going to click no views for that one. Oh, good. Drawing 3 is here. Kinda. All right. So now, again, right, if it wasn't set up correctly, I'm going to do insert view. I'm going to insert the gray part. I wanted the bottom on this one to be the front. Bottom. Give it a second. It should populate. So there's my bottom. Ugh. I'm dying. This is too slow. There we go. Now I'm going to project it. Wow. Evidently, the school internet is not doing well right now. You're killing me, Smalls. All right. Well, there's that one. Go back to this one. I'm going to close out and reopen. Hopefully that helps. Fast forward. Fast forward. It looks like it did those parts. It's just not loading them for me. Oh, that one's there. Oh, I know what happened here. All right. Anyways, I'm going to project this one up. That's the top view. I'm going to project it over here for the isometric view. And I'm going to project it to the right for the right side view. Right click. Oh, got to get off this tool first. Now right click. Show shaded view. Show hidden lines, show hidden lines, show hidden lines. There are no hidden lines on this part, but click it just in case. Now I'm going to dimension. Left to the first edge. Here's my width. 1. Left to the next edge. I have 2 widths. And then my height. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the height over here. Bottom to top. Only 2 heights. And then I have my depth. I'm going to do my depth over here. Front to back. Front to back. Notice I try and keep all my dimensions on the inside. Nothing to the outside, nothing to the borders. That's it. There's 6 on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's all there should be. I'm going to skip, I'm going to skip naming it right now because we should move on. Green part, I already set that one up while we were waiting. So here it is, looks good. Right click. I don't want to show hidden lines on that. Show shaded view. Look what happens if we put the hidden lines on that. Kind of cool, but I don't want to see that. Hide hidden lines. Here we need hidden lines. All right, and then dimension. Left to the first edge. Left to the second edge. Smallest dimensions first, so we stack it with the biggest ones outside. 0.75, 1.5, 2.25. Now the height. The height, I really don't have any great spot for the height. I could do the hidden lines, or I could come over here and cross through the part. Neither of them are ideal, but they're going to have to work. So there's that. I could have went to the hidden lines. It might be less confusing than what we see there. And then we have our depth. I'm going to do the depth right here. So there's that one. Last one. I don't even remember what orientation I needed for this. It's another one up. I wanted the right to be the front. So I'm going to place view. Insert. So my blue part. I wanted the right to be the front. Right. Click. I'm just going to draw it. Go up here to projected view, which actually it automatically goes to projected view for you. There's my top. There's my ISO. There's my right side. Dimension. This is an easy dimension. 1.5, 2.25, and the depth, we'll do it here this time, 0.75. Ta-da. That's all that one needs. Nothing more than that. Never put any dimensions here. Make sure we right click on this. Go off dimension first. Make sure we right click on this and show the shaded view, just because it looks nicer. So there's that. So 5 parts, 5 multi-view drawings. Now we're going to do the assembly. Automatically, your document should have an assembly file already up. If you have to create one, just go to the plus right here. But the assembly file should already be there. First thing you do is you insert your first part. And I'm going to insert the red part. Our goal is to remove all 6 degrees of freedom. We don't want this thing to be able to move. So right now it can move. So I'm going to line this thing up kind of like on the origin right there, right in the middle. The first part, I always right click and fix. Okay. That way, if I try and drag it and move it, it doesn't move. I locked it in place. I took care of every one of those 6 degrees of freedom. I can't move it up and forward and back. I can't move it left and right. I can't move it up and down. I can't rotate it any of the 3 directions. So this is all locked in. I recommend only putting one part in at a time. So we're going to add this part. First part I'm going to add here is the purple part. And I'm going to drop that thing in there. Oops. Insert. We'll do it again. Purple part. I have to click one in there. If you wanted more than one, you could click again, but click the check mark. I'm going to rotate it and move it to kind of where I need it to be. So I could kind of move this back here, close to where I need it to be. If you need to rotate it because it's not oriented right, you can use these tools and rotate it to kind of get it close. You don't need it to be right on, just get it close. I'll even start mine at 30 degrees to show you that it doesn't matter. All right, so what I want to do is attach these together so that they don't move. So I want to get rid of the degrees of freedom here. And we're going to do that with one simple function. I'm going to look at it this way. We're going to use what's called a fasten. So there's this fasten mate. It fastens 2 things together and doesn't let them move from that orientation. So when you click fasten, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to hover over a face. All right, so when I hover over this face, you can see all the little white dots and squares. The dots are on the corners, the squares are in the center. That little dot right there is the centroid of my part. It's like the center of the part. So there's all those pieces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose one of them. I'm going to choose this corner right here on this face. And then on this part, I want to find a corner that would be attached right to it. And I have to choose the right face. If I choose the wrong face, this would be the wrong face. That part is not going to go in there like we want. All right. So anytime you choose the wrong things, it doesn't go together how you want it. Just click X. All right. And it'll take it right back to where you started. We're going to try again. I'm going to do a fasten mate. I want that corner and I want that fastened to that corner. It's going to lock it in. I'll rotate this and look at it, make sure that's exactly how I want that piece. It certainly is. Based on my puzzle cube, that's where I want it. All these edges are lined up how I want. Green for good. Now if I pull on this thing, I can't move it. I can't move it. I can't rotate it. If I click on it, see this option comes up, but if I try and pull it, it won't go anywhere. If I try and pull it, it won't go anywhere. If I try and rotate it, it won't go anywhere. Here's our 6 degrees of freedom. This is translation, 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 rotation, rotation, rotation. None of them work because we fastened that together. And since this one is locked in place, this one is now locked in place. I'm going to insert my next part. My next part is going to be the gray part. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit. So I'm going to put the gray part right there. Check. All right. This is going to go in here just like that. So the orientation is good for me. So I go to fasten. Get this correct face. I want that corner. I didn't select it. That corner with that corner. Rotate it around, make sure I have everything as I want it. That's what it should look like. I agree. Commit current mate and start a new mate. All right, we're good. I'm gonna pull on it, I'm gonna click on it, make sure I can't move it, make sure I can't rotate it. So later on, we'll do some of these constraints where we allow rotation if we want things to move, like let's say it's a handle on a coffee grinder or something like that. Some parts you want to have some degrees of freedom. In this case, we want 0 degrees of freedom. Next, parts, insert my green part, check. Obviously, this is not the right orientation for this part. That's not how it would go. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rotate this thing. Not that way, yeah, that way will work. So it's close to how I want it. That's how it'll go in there. And then I just got to choose which corners I want to connect. I'm going to fasten, how about this bottom corner with this bottom corner. That'll work for me. Check. Committed. Good. Close this. Make sure I can't move this. Nope, it's not going anywhere. Can't rotate it, can't do anything. Nope. That's good. Next one. My last piece, my blue part. Check. Well, that's not the orientation I want, so we'll rotate it how I want it. That works. Constrain. Click. Let's go ahead and attach it to the corner of this gray block right here. Everything looks good. Check. And now I have a fully assembled puzzle cube. All right. Next step is to come over here to this BOM table. BOM stands for Bill of Materials. It's our parts list. All right. It's going to automatically generate a parts list. It's got an item number, a quantity, a part number, and a description. Well, we don't need a part number. This isn't fancy. So we can right click on this and remove this column. But I'm going to go through and I'm going to name all these parts. So that's my red part. I should be able to click in here and type. Oh, I don't know why this is up. There we go. I had never. So that's my red, right? And then that one is my, I forgot what color that is, purple. And this is my gray part. It should be my green. And this is my blue part. We're putting that information in for something at a later time. So that's my list of parts. And what should we do with the cube right after we put it together? Well, obviously what you do with any puzzle, you take it apart. So add exploded views to visualize the assembly of components. Exploded views help you visualize how components fit together in assembly by moving instances from their mated position. You can click this and learn more about it, but I'm going to teach you about it right now. So the first thing we do is we add an exploded view. It's going to call it explode 1. You can change the name if you'd like. But now you'll see up here in this orange box, it says that we're editing explode 1. So since we're editing explode 1, we're in the window that we want to be. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at this ISO like it's meant to be. So there we go, front, top, right. Here's my isometric. And I'm going to take this thing apart. Okay, so I'm going to start by clicking on this blue part and moving it up. And you have to do one direction at a time. So I'm good with how far up I moved it, check. I'm also going to move it back a little bit. What we want to do is we want to expose all our pieces and kind of space them out so we can see how this goes together. Try not to cross through all the other parts or anything like that. Check. If you don't hit that green check, you're going to have a bad time. All right. I'm going to move it right. And yeah, maybe out a little bit. Just trying to, it may be back right here. I'm really just trying to get this so that they're all situated in a good fashion. I'm going to move the gray part, click on the part, choose the direction you want to move. I'm going to move this back, accept that, and then I'm going to move it up. Yeah. Well, I don't like that, so I'm going to say no, because I'm thinking about what I'm going to do with my purple piece. I'm going to move that out and then down. Because now I'm going to move my purple piece up. Oops, I didn't accept it. So I'm going to move it up, check, and left. There we go. That's why I didn't put the gray one there, because I felt like that one fit there better. So there's all that. Well, what does this do for us? Check. That's my finished exploded view. We can see this thing apart. But if I click on this bar here, this is called the rollback bar. I don't want to be selecting anything. Hit escape, click off it. Then click on your rollback bar, and you can move this bar up and down. I like to use the arrow keys. So we watch this one step at a time. We can see the puzzle cube be put together by itself. And then you could hit down and watch it be taken apart. Step by step. And then we're gonna roll it back the other way. So that gives us a nice tutorial of how that puzzle cube goes together. It's almost like an instruction booklet for your puzzle cube. Now the last step, I'm done with the explode. Shut that down. The last step is going to be to create a drawing of everything put together. Okay, so now we hit the plus. We go to create drawing, and this is we're not going to start with any views. So we're going to click OK. Probably going to be one of those times where I got to leave the program and come back to it. You can do it. We were going so well there for a minute. Puzzle cube tutorial. All right, so here's my drawing sheet. It's got the nice title block that we always have there. My name's here, the day I created it. I'm actually going to click in here and we'll title it at the start here. We'll call this Puzzle Cube Exploded View. Click on that. All right. So first thing we need to do is insert a view. We're going to insert not any of our parts, but we're going to insert the assembly. So we're going to insert our assembly one. And we are going to choose the isometric, because we always, when we do this, we want to see this in 3D. So I'm going to click my isometric in this top right corner. It'll draw it for me. Right click on it, show shaded view. We want it colored. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to insert another view. Same thing, we want assembly one. We want the isometric orientation, because we want to see it 3D, except this time, where it says explode position, we are going to use explode one that we created. And you'll notice that it's probably going to come in way too big at the start. So I'm going to have to come here and scale it down. 1/2 is probably good. It's going to make it 1/2 the size as they actually are. We're going to put that right in here. I probably could have done some better spacing here. If I would have done some better spacing, this cube would have been a little further away. So if I go in and I change that, it'll change it right in the drawing. I'm going to show my shaded view here. So there's that and how it goes together. I got all these lines crisscrossing. I definitely could have taken this apart better too. Last step, you want to come up here and click on BOM, your bill of material table. And here's that bill of materials that we created earlier. I'm going to put that right there. I don't know why it always doesn't come in right. So there's my bill of material. If you have room, you can put it over here, wherever it fits. So here's this. It says item 1 is red, item 2 is purple, item 3 is gray, item 4 is green, item 5 is blue. Well, if this wasn't in color, how would we know that? How would we know which one is which? That's where we're going to come up here to this call out button. You click call out, and it's already set up for me as table item number. If you have other things in here, let's say you accidentally do that and you get the description too, just come down here and delete it. All you want is the item number. So it should say table item number. That's all that should be in this box. And then you're going to come in here and you are going to click on these parts and drag your numbers. And we're going to number them. I like to go from corners at times. 3. Here's my base part, number 1. And part number 2. And there it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's the whole puzzle cube. Red part, and it's drawing. The drawings aren't going to come up very fast. Purple part, it's drawing. Gray part, and it's drawing. So all together, I have 5 parts. I have 1 assembly, and I have 6 drawings. I have each individual part drawing, and then I have my assembly drawing. So you might want to come in and rename these drawings. Just so you know it, like this, I would call my exploded view drawing. So that's it, start to finish. If you were struggling, hopefully this helped. That's the entire puzzle cube. Hope it helped.